All right, we are back and diving into Shay Howe, article number 3, Getting to Know CSS. So we just covered a lot in HTML in the last article, and now we are taking the next logical step. We set up our foundation in our web page into what the content will include and how the content is structured. And now we're jumping over to CSS to see how that content gets styled. So this is another long lesson with a lot of content. So like I said, get a good overview and before you dive in. And I'm going to dive in right now and I'll let you know what I found out once I get finished with it. All right, I just finished section number 3 of Shay Howe, learning to use HTML and CSS. And once again, this is a really thorough overview of CSS. It gives you a ton of information. So even if you're an intermediate or expert web developer, this is surely going to give you some at least overview. And then that way, as you're kind of getting through the thick of the information, you can have a better idea of how to relate those individual concepts to the overall structure that's being presented. It starts from the beginning. It talks about the cascade from top to bottom, and it talks about how different elements can be weighted depending on the type of selectors that are being used. So the type, the class, and the ID each have different weights, and the different combination of those gives different elements different weights and might break that cascade. So elements cascade from top to bottom, from parents to children. So everything falls in a descending order. But because you can assign different weights to different elements, you're able to break that cascade if need be. And it also talks about the actual elements that CSS uses. So colors and length. So colors can come in multiple forms, RBG, hex. So it also talks about lengths, absolute and relative lengths, the different types of notation. So pixels, ems, rems, percentages, the different ways that you're able to control lengths and stylize things. I'm giving it a very brief overview because the information itself is structured very well. It's written very well by Shay Howe, and it gives you a concise overview of all the nitty-gritty details that you really need in order to have complete control and complete mastery over your CSS. But it is actually a long article and gives a lot of depth in these details, because even though it's only just a few concepts, the concept of cascading design, the concept of weighted selectors, the concept of colors and how they're used, and the concept of length. Each one of those concepts contains a lot of detail and has a lot of depth to it. So don't underestimate how long this article will take to cover, but it is worth your while. I can promise you that, especially if you're learning for the first time. It gives such a thorough overview that it is a good foundation to have. Good article, a lot of detailed information. And once again, it applies all that theory to the practical example of building a web page. So you get to see firsthand how it's applied in real world settings as well. So thorough, practical, it's a great article all around. Now we're heading on to article number 4.